Fashion fads are like any fad, really. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. And you don't know which of these two categories the one you're participating in now will end up falling into until enough time has passed for society to gain some perspective. Before you dive into the latest trend, though, keep in mind that for every pair of blue jeans or high-top sneakers, there are a million things that don't stand the test of time. So, if you want to actually enjoy looking at pictures of yourself years from now, take a lesson from the following disasters. Number 10. Zoot Suits, 1940s. In the 1940s, Zoot Suits symbolized rebellion and individuality for the minority youths who wore them. So much so, in fact, that they actually rioted when the government tried to ban them, arguing that the absurd amount of fabric required for their manufacture was depriving the army of valuable war material. Cool fact, you know what's not cool? The Zoot Suit itself. Look at this goofy monstrosity and mock it. Number 9. Rompers for men, 1970s. The 1970s are a good decade to illustrate the following point. The more a new fashion trend deviates from the standard jeans/t-shirt/dress or skirt and boots or sneakers and tailored jacket look, the more likely it is not to stand the test of time. Variations on the classics likely won't be too embarrassing down the road, but wild departures like the wide-collared onesie for grown men advertised in the mid-1970s fashion magazines will likely force you to trash any kind of all photographic evidence that you ever partook in it. Number 8. Shoulder pads, 1980s. If brevity is the soul of wit, then just enough clothing worn well is the soul of fashion. The point is, women in the 1980s did not understand this self-evident truth. Shoulder pads and batwing sleeves and other gratuitous add-ons to shirts and jackets that simply did not need to be there were ridiculous perversions of the more subtle 1940s shoulder pads, because everything in the 1980s was a ridiculous perversion of something. It was part of the fun, but it's also the reason no one who lived through that decade will ever admit it in public. Number 7. Mullets, 1980s. Business in the front, party in the back? Try! Thank you for the application, but we're not hiring right now. We will say this, though. Few could have imagined that the mullet, popularized by Irish rock star and liberal philanthropist Bono, would end up on the scalps of beer-guzzling Appalachians who soak their feet in kiddie pools. How did this happen? We don't care enough to find out, but we imagine it has something to do with Def Leppard's Joe Elliott giving the look a blue jeans appeal and country crooner Billy Ray Cyrus taking it from there. Quite a storied history for one of the most regrettable, worthless hairstyles of all time. Number 6. Hair metal everything. 1980s. Men dressing as women might come off as rather woke right now, but we promise you social commentary and LGBTQ rights weren't even on the radar of the chauvinistic Sunset Strip slime balls who teased out their hair and smeared on the makeup to rock out to Bon Jovi in the mid-1980s. The women were just as bad. For a few months in 1986, the skies above Los Angeles were 40% Aquanet. Whole species of birds were endangered. Nirvana didn't kill hair metal, the EPA did. Number 5. Bang parentheses, 1990s. We really tried to find the proper name for this dorky-looking mop of a haircut, but bang parentheses will have to do. It's really a perfect description. It's the haircut famously sported by Jonathan Taylor Thomas from Home Improvement and some of the kids from Saved by the Bell. Leonardo DiCaprio wore it too around the time Titanic was released. Now it only lives on in those books that you find at the hairdresser. Number 4. Excessively baggy clothes, 1990s. Maybe the current trend of slim-fit tailored clothing will one day be seen as overcorrection, but nobody can look at poncho-sized t-shirts draped over jeans that were 4 sizes too big and honestly think that it looks as cool now as it did in the mid-90s. It's a wonder anyone could even function when they had 40 pounds of fabric to wrestle with just to find their wallet. Number 3. Frosted tips, 1990s and 2000s. This one is courtesy of yet more cute musicians who deceived the public into thinking that you too can look as hot as Justin Timberlake by simply bleaching the top half of your greasy hair spikes. Number 2. Soul patches, 1990s and 2000s. Cute guys might sport frosted tips, but bad boys had soul patches. These were the guys with motorcycles and cigarettes, leather jackets, and hot girlfriends. Guys who listened to cool bands like Crossfade and Nickelback. Guys who are now fat, bald, and goateed, who wear sleeveless tap-out shirts and shades indoors, and who yell at their kids at the gas station while their wife smokes in the pickup. Honestly, though, the biggest question we have regarding soul patches, which are so small it hardly seems worth the effort to maintain and trim them, is just why? Number 1. Trilbys, 2000s and 2010s. God help us. Sometimes fashion trends fail so spectacularly that you don't even need hindsight to see it. Now, before we continue, do bear in mind that fedoras and trilbys are often confused cousins. They are not twins. Fedoras are the wider-brimmed, classic Hollywood-era hats you've seen paired with chiseled jaws and suit jackets. We have no problem at all with the properly applied fedora. Trilbys, on the other hand, have no fashion utility whatsoever. They weren't even slightly cool at any point in time in any part of the world. In fact, they're so uncool that it makes everyone around the wearer embarrassed, as if future anthropologists will spot one while digging up an ancient shopping mall and think all of us wore wolf t-shirts and tried to seduce uncomfortable women by bragging about our sword collections. For the sake of our collective dignity, let's just put that Trilby in the nearest bin, and you can beg for your forgiveness. So I really hope you found that video entertaining. If you did, please do hit that like button below and do not forget to subscribe. Brand new videos every day of the week. For more from me, check out another channel I do called Business Blaze. It's sort of like this, but with a bit more fun thrown in. Find that link to below, and thank you for watching.